Go.
How many of you know someone who has ADHD or ADD? Okay. How many of you know someone with a learning disability? All right, almost all of you. Well, I'm going to do my speech today on incorporating special education students with learning disabilities in a classroom. Granted, you can take this into future careers as well because it's everywhere. So let's start off with the types of learning disabilities that there are. And I'm only going to label or go through a few of them because there are many out there. There's cerebral palsy. There is autism, Down syndrome, emotional disturbances, speech and language impairments. There are orthopedic disabilities and developmental delays. All of those are and can be a learning disability in a classroom. ADHD and ADD are also learning disabilities. I remember when I was in first grade, I didn't go to a regular math class. I didn't go to a regular reading class. I was actually put into a resource room, and there are different levels of special education and learning disabilities. Not all have to go into a resource room. Not all have to be put in a separate school because their disability is too overpowering to be in a regular classroom. There are multiple programs like the IDEA, which is Individuals with Disability Education Act, and there's 13 areas within that alone. And then the IEP is Individualized Educational Program. So, do any of you know how you can incorporate special education students with learning disabilities in a classroom? Any of you?
Have a teacher's aide?
Yeah.
So that they can work with both?
Mm-hmm. Kenny?
I know that certain schools like Lockwood, which you and I both went to, have certain programs like accelerated math, accelerated reader that lets the child go at their own pace, and I feel like that could be helpful.
Right, exactly. There are multiple, and I know even here they have a program in which students can take notes for other students who may not be good note takers, or maybe they just can't write as fast because of a disability that they have. Some of the things that a teacher can do are print out a lecture of their notes. They can have someone take notes for them. They can do a buddy, like maybe if you're doing a project, instead of just saying, okay, here's a big project, go ahead and have fun. You can go, okay, well, why don't we do it in pairs? And not only is that helping the student with disabilities, it is also helping the other peer because they're kind of growing and learning with the student that has a disability. There's also modifications that you can do. I know students with kids with cerebral palsy, some of them have to be in a wheelchair. I know there's programs that they can get them, and they have these weird, and I had a PowerPoint, and I'm really sad I forgot it, but with cerebral palsy, they have this big machine like to get children with disabilities to make them feel normal and help them get the movement in their legs. It's a big machine, and it goes around their waist, and it helps them walk. But modifications like this desk setting, that probably wouldn't work for someone in a wheelchair. So you can modify your classroom to fit the wheelchair. Or if you have a student with ADD or ADHD, I know they want to move. They're constantly. So if they're sitting in their desk for an hour at a time, or sometimes two if in college, they're going to want to get up and move, and you're going to lose them probably 10 minutes within the speech. Something you can do is give them a stressor ball so they can sit and they can just kind of flex the ball. to kind of get their concentration, not only so they can keep engaged in what they're learning, but also can get that movement out, and it's less disruptive in the class. Because some ADHD students, I went to school with one, they shout out. They were just really loud and disruptive. So instead of having that disruptiveness in the classroom, you can give them something that can help them with that. I guess this topic I'm passionate about because I'm going into elementary education with double majoring in special education. So for me, that's a big deal. And I remember all throughout high school there was a young man named Cody who he knew, I'm not sure what disability he had, but he knew the difference between right and wrong for most things. And kids would just pick on him. And that was really hard for me to see. And so that was one reason why I chose this. And my aunt is a special education, elementary education and special education major. And she's actually going to get her doctorates, but she really inspired me to kind of learn more about the topic and the disabilities. But she told me a quote, and it's find the need, fill the need, and make sure every individual's need is met. So not only just your average student or your valedictorian or anything, make sure every one of their needs are met. And I just hope you can take from my speech out of it that just because they may not look like autism or Down syndrome, autism, you can't tell they have autism a lot of the times. And Down syndrome, you can tell when a child has Down syndrome, or fetal alcohol syndrome. You can see the functions in their face. So just know it's out there, and just be aware of it. And studies show that we have in the United States 6 million students with special needs, and that's 13% of the entire public school population, and that's increasing every year. So I guess that's kind of my speech I wanted to just share with you guys.